Hello everyone, I'm Wendall Jones and welcome to this edition of the program, The Platform. We examine national issues on this program, and on our program every weekend we seek to do some things that are special. And I have with me today Andrea Sweeting, who is the president of the Sister Breast Cancer Support Group, and she is today with Bianca Nygaard, and as you know, we have been doing a number of programs with Bianca Nygaard talking about the wonderful things that the Nygaard Group is doing in the Bahamas, and they are especially involved in matters to do with health and healthy lifestyles. And so it's a pleasure to have them both here today. Bianca, nice to see you again.
It's great to see you.
And Andrea Sweeting. We've done a whole lot of programs with you, and it's always refreshing to see you because you bring a tremendous amount of information, especially with your Sister Breast Cancer Support Group.
Yes.
And it's going well, right?
It is, it is. We're happy and delighted that we can be a part of our community service. The thing about it is we were formed in September of 2000 by two wonderful surgeons, Dr. Loxley Monroe and Charles Diggis. And through these men, they actually cut away the cancers or the tumors, and then we had no one else to talk to us about it. And Nurse McPhee, Charlene McPhee, who is the nurse within the office, she's decided, okay, we'll start asking each woman to call one another. We started then with 15 women. Today we have more than about 200 women that's actually passed through the group. And when I say pass through the group, I mean for the fact that some of us, once we get into our mission, we're not able or wanting to talk about our journey. That, in some cases, is not always good. But we don't want persons to break down trying to help another woman. So we applaud those women who actually are able to sit and help the other woman through her difficult time.
Bianca, you've been, your organization, the Nygaard Group, has been working with cancer support organizations, not only in the Bahamas, but in Canada. Tell us about your efforts in all of this.
Nygaard International is their fundraiser of choice, and my father really loves, he has women's fashions, right? So he loves to make women feel beautiful, but he's also concerned about their health and enhancing their life in all aspects of their life. So breast cancer research became his charity of choice. So for the last 10 years, they've been raising money by doing different things. The month of October is normally recognized as the breast cancer month, but Nygaard International does it all year round. And the company has raised money, over $10 million for breast cancer research. My dad contributes to a hospital and gets the best doctors to be able to do this research. I actually have a video here about that also.
Very good.
And the other thing that he does too is has gowns and stuff. He makes their gowns so that it's really nice and soft and comfortable and fashionable. He gives them, they do participate in his fashion shows and get dressed up and walk the runway, and we just did that with some cancer survivors last year, so maybe Ms. Sweeting wants to talk about. But it really makes them feel very nice, and they really shine, you know, as superstars. They're the highlight of the show. And he provides them with pamper days, you know, just to get a massage, manicure, and pedicure, and feel good about yourself. So it's all around. He's very supportive of women.
Oh, Andrea Sweeting, we didn't know all of these things about the Nygaard Group and what they do for cancer research in the Bahamas.
I tell you, well, no, not so much research here.
Yes.
It's always in the Canada area.
Yes.
But for last year, it was truly an awesome feeling for most of the women who actually took part in it. They asked them to come in, and they were supposed to just fit up, get the right sizes, and then they did a runway experience for them. The women were extremely, excited to know that someone actually cared enough to pamper them for that afternoon. And most of them were the shy ones too. And so when they got up on the stage, you couldn't believe it. They were just like, wow, how am I? So it was really good to see them in that form and frame of mind, to know that they felt good about themselves, if only for that moment. And so I was happy about that. And so we say thanks to Nygaard and his whole team for what they actually brought out that day in those women, because it did a lot for them.
Your organization has grown tremendously, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, it has grown. And as I said, you know, that is the saddest thing because of the fact that when women go through their remission, not all of them are willing or helpful to come back and give. Because of the fact that it's so difficult to really rehash what you've already gone through. While others, again, like myself, yeah, but I count it all joy to be able to assist. And I do it for the mere fact that when I was diagnosed, I had a support mechanism that I am so grateful for. And so I feel that this is the way that we give back to each other. You have to be there to help that woman know that this is not the end of the world. This is only a new beginning. You just have to make the difference.
There's a conference that you attend as well, and I believe NIGAD
Yeah.
is, as a part,
Yeah.
sponsor of this conference in Canada.
Yeah.
Tell us about that conference and how important it is.
It was called the Global Conference, and it was done every 3 years in Canada. Bank of Nova Scotia and the NIGAD group were the persons who actually sponsored the actual conference. Now, exactly how the logistic was, but I know we went for several times. And I think we did 4 of them. So within the past years, we did 4. And we always had a very good contingent to leave from the Bahamas to go there. It was very interesting because you had women from all over the world. One year in particular, I think it was 2012, I did my talk on breast cancer with our women here in the Bahamas and how it's affecting us. And it truly went off very well. One of the things we realized is that we're not different. None of us are different. And to actually see that you are not alone in this helps to let you realize that there is some hope out there. Because every country comes and they give their description of what is happening with their people and why, and how best we can help each other. So we have friends that we email and WhatsApp all over the world because of these same conferences. So we make good friendships, and that's the most important thing.
Bianca, you know, we hear a whole lot about NIGAD and his fashions and NIGAD Slims, and but this is a tremendous investment by NIGAD International, these conferences, right?
Oh, yes, it is. Well, it's been very close in our family. You know, normally most everybody knows somebody that cancer has affected, unfortunately. With us, both my dad's mom had cancer. My mom had cancer, breast cancer too. And so it's very close to our heart to try to eliminate it, find a way to stop it. And so it's been that way for over 10 years already, that it's been his #1 initiative to do that. And then also to just spread the word of like the importance of early detection. And in fact, he also has sponsored some vehicles to go into the rural parts where people can't really get to have their mammograms and stuff done and do tests for people. And so any kind of aspect of that, or you know, how he's such an advocate on health and eating healthy and stuff. So he like provides all of this in his environment to be able to help anybody in the environment.
Andrea Sweeting, tell us about the surgical suite. This is a big project of the Sister group.
Well, we were born in that same office, the surgical suite, number 68 Collins Avenue. And like I said, 16 years ago, September. And so we celebrate life in September. We have our prayer breakfast, where past year, we had 650 persons that attended. Even though persons keep telling us we need to do a little bit more and maybe a ball. But we want to keep it that way because we can actually get the women who need and who is affected and can't actually afford anything else. So our donation is $45, and so we're doing very well with that. And so we're happy of the persons who actually come. And you'd be surprised to see that when they're there, the interaction. And that is what I like about the prayer breakfast. And it's a time to give God thanks and to openly let the public see that these women, these survivors are actually doing well.
But is that one event sufficient for what you...
For what we do?
Yes.
Not totally, and that is one of the good things. Truthfully, at this point right now, we've already gifted 110 ports for the year.
110?
110 ports.
That's a lot.
For the year. And so in addition to what we make from the ads, from the booklet, from our prayer breakfast, then we are actually we get the funds through our sponsorship from everybody else. And so we're thankful to Corporate Bahamas for what they've done, because without them, we won't be able to do what we do. So they have always been there to empower us, to keep us going to do the things that we've been doing. So we say thanks to Surgical Suite staff and also the Southern General Community Clinic staff, because of the mere fact that Dr. Monroe has now moved out and he is at his own clinic. We have our meetings there the second Wednesday of each month. And so this is where we meet. But all of the work is done at the Surgical Suite because of the fact that Nurse Maxie is still there. And she's the person who knows everything that goes on. But to keep the camaraderie between both doctors or both surgeons, we meet at his office, Dr. Monroe's. And it's still a very good relationship because both doctors, regardless of what's happening, we could call them at any moment and they're there for us.
You have dollar days, is it?
Well, this last
Bianca,
month,
yeah?
well, this last month in October, for every Slim sold, we donated $1 towards the breast cancer foundation. So there's always things like that going on to accumulate the money.
And so this has been going on for many years.
For 10 years.
For
yes.
10 years.
That's right.
That's a tremendous impact that you are making. And I believe that, and the slims that you sell, not only in the Bahamas, but around the world.
Yes, around the world. And actually, they just celebrated with the Nygaard Slims their 1 millionth sale of Slims. So we're talking about significant numbers here in the end, yes.
Yes, yes, that is commendable indeed. So this initiative in the Bahamas with Sister, you are partnering with Sister in some way, shape, or form, I believe.
Well, around the world, globally, then we like to have all of the stores participate in it. So last year, we did the fashion show with Sister, but there's one central place where my father's donations go to, and that's where he chooses the doctors and pays for the doctors to be able to do this research, you know, because himself, he's such an advocate on the stem cells, his own health, the leading technology, everything. So he actually wants to be a little bit in control of this instead of just give it to everybody. But he'll help in the gowns wise or these mobile units that will go to the rural places and everything. But as far as the money itself, it goes to a central place where he actually has a little bit of control over it.
Andrea, let's talk generally about the breast cancer. Is it, I want to think that some women who have this disease, it's a thing to do with luck. They're just unlucky.
I don't think so. I truly don't.
Because
think so.
I've seen a whole lot of people who watch what they eat and all of this. It's genetic, one, and
Yeah. Most of it, I think, it's probably to do with a hereditary gene.
yes.
Most of it, and then.
So that's the luck thing. You're just unlucky to have the gene. Huh?
I don't think so. We have no choice in what we do when we born into this world.
Right.
And so I won't say it has anything to do with luck. It's just that that's the nature of the draw. But one of the things that I realized for me personally, I have not found anybody else in my father's gene or my mother's gene that has had cancer. Let me just say one of the things. When you realize that you're growing up and there's somebody in your family who is sick, you never knew what they were sick with. They would always say, well, grandma or grandmother is not feeling well, but you never knew exactly what the situation was. That, in some instances, has probably been a drawback, but as far back as I can go from my family, I don't. So I'm the first one, the very first one. So I don't know what you call that, but for me, that was a blessing. I actually counted mine as a blessing because of the mere fact that I wouldn't say I was always the best person in the world, and I still don't say I'm the best person in the world. But I know for a fact then that it's changed a lot in my life to know. And I never realized how good people can actually be to you until you are actually ill. They came around, they did whatever they possibly could. And it wasn't the fact that it was money. People must realize that when we're ill, we need help with everything else. And that is the whole concept from it. You need someone to help you get to the doctors, You need someone to help you get yourself dressed if you have lymphedema. And lymphedema is when you have the swelling of the arms. So you need help for every little thing. And so if you can get someone to actually come and assist you through that all, through the worst part of it, I think it means so much more than what they can give you financially. And that is what the type of support that I actually got. And that is why I feel so strongly about helping another woman, because honestly and truly, she needs that sort of help.
And you've been doing that for how long now?
This is my 10th year as president of Sister Sister, and I did 2 years of the secretarial work when I first joined the group. I joined the group 1 year after I was diagnosed because I did all of my treatments in the U.S. Unfortunately, at that time, Dr. Turnquest was just coming back home from away and to relocate here, and there was no one doing it here. And so I had to do it away. But my oncologist was a Bahamian also, and I owe a lot to him. And I say that truthfully because of the mere fact that he used to come to Nassau to do it and worked along with Dr. Land. But honestly and truly, I did everything in the U.S., which was sad because I stayed at Hope Lodge, which is sponsored by the City Meat Markets. They sponsored Hope Lodge in those days, and we stayed there. They had 30 rooms, and could you believe it, in those days, 19 of them were actually occupied by Bahamians when I was there.
By Bahamians?
By Bahamians when I was there. And the Bahamians all went through the government, but they went to Mount Sinai. In those days, I had insurance because I was employed, and I went to Cedars of Lebanon because of the mere fact that my insurance went there. But the experience was a good one because I did my radiation at 8 a.m. in the morning, and by 8:30 I was on the bus with everybody else going out to Mount Sinai, and we had a ball at Mount Sinai. So I say all of that to say that we have to look at this experience as one that teaches you something, and not to say that, oh my Lord, this is what has been dealt with me. We learned a lot from each other. We learned a lot from each other. Some of us, because of the fact that we were unable to do things for ourselves, they had caregivers, and you allowed a caregiver to stay with you. The caregivers would cook, so you'd be out all day, and when you come back home, you have hot Bahamian meals ready, because these caregivers thought enough to not only care for their one person, but everybody within that household. So it was really a very good and very rewarding experience, but still at the same time, you didn't have your family with you. You were there by yourself. My husband came over 2 weekends back to back, and then I had a sister who would come over. So every weekend somebody would take turn and come over. But it's nothing like being home, and that's why I truly applaud the government for now being able to do it from Dr. Brown's office, which is right there, number 7172 on Collins Avenue, where radiation is now being done home.
You know, this thing about whether it's luck or not, I read that somewhere. And, you know, this BRCA1, BRCA2 gene, there are some people who escape it, and it is found in a whole lot of Bahamian families.
Yep, I think they've done, what, about 3,000 women?
3,000 women so far.
3,000 women for the gene. I did it. I didn't test positive. And there's several of us, I know a lot of us who did it, especially the sisters. We were the first ones who actually went in for it, but most of us were not positive.
Very good. Let's take a break here. This is the platform. We are talking about the Sister group and what they do about breast cancer in the Bahamas. And Bianca Nygaard is here, and her organization, her father's organization, Nygaard International, they do so much in the world, raising funds and supporting women with breast cancer. We'll come right back.